4 out of 5 pensioners who are expected to lose out on the winter fuel payments are on or below the poverty line, according to Age UK.
Yes, the charity is now urgently calling on the government to expand the automatic payment to those who receive benefits other than pension credit.
If you think you know the rules for staying warm this winter, I need you to pause and listen very carefully. It is currently February 2026, and in just a few days, the window to secure your heating safety net is going to slam shut in a way we haven't seen in decades. We aren't just talking about saving a few pounds on your electric bill anymore. We are talking about a fundamental shift in who the government considers worthy of support, a new shadow tax on middle-income seniors, and a deadline that could leave you out in the cold, literally. For the last year, you've heard the rumours. You've heard about the Rachel Reeves U-turns. You've heard about means testing. And you've heard about the 35,000 housing threshold. Well, the rumours are over. We now have the hard dates. And the most critical one hits by the end of this month. Here is the reality. If you sit back and wait for a payment that hasn't arrived yet, you might find yourself facing a silent denial that can't be appealed. You might find yourself hit with an unexpected tax bill in April because you earned just £1 over a hidden limit. And if you're a senior who has deferred your state pension, the very system meant to protect you might have already erased you from its records. Today we are going to walk through the critical changes hitting the DWP and HMR systems in early 2026. We're going to cover the new clawback rules, the specific date missing payments become permanent losses, and the household trap that is slashing payments for couples across the UK. This isn't just about checking your bank balance. It's about making sure you don't get denied by a computer algorithm. I've dug through the latest DWP filings and Treasury updates to bring you the facts. So grab your notebook. Let's get you ready for the February cliff edge. Let's start right here with the most controversial change coming to your bank account. For years, the winter fuel payment was a simple, universal right, but for the 2025-2026 season, everything changed. While the majority of the 9 million eligible seniors received their 200 or 300 back in November or December, there is a massive group of missing people. If you are one of them, the clock is ticking. You have likely heard that you have until March 31st to make a manual claim, but there is a hidden trap. The DWP has officially announced that if you were expecting an automatic payment and it hasn't arrived, you must take action immediately. While the final claim date is in March, the official guidance states that if your money hasn't hit by January 28, 2026, you are already in the danger zone. They call this the verification window. The logic is that after February, the system moves from active payments to audit mode. If you wait until the very end of March, you aren't just filing a claim, you're entering a manual review process that can take months to resolve. But here is the trap for seniors who have deferred their state pension or moved house recently. If the DWP doesn't have your current details on file from the qualifying week, back in September, they won't even send you a letter. You could be sitting there waiting for money that the system has already flagged as unclaimed. The fix: do not rely on the "it'll come eventually" strategy. If your bank statement doesn't show a credit with the reference DWP, by now you need to call the Winter Fuel Payment Centre 0800 731 0160. Have your national insurance number and bank details ready. If you wait past the end of this month to flag a missing payment, you are essentially giving the government an interest-free loan of your own survival money while you struggle to pay the bills. Now, let's look at the rule that is catching the most people off guard this year. We've been warning you about the new income threshold, but it's no longer just a proposal. It's the law. In a move that's been described as a stealth tax, the government reinstated the payment for all pensioners for the 2025-2026 season, but they added a brutal string attached. If your personal taxable income for this tax year is even £1 over 35,000, the government is going to take every penny of that fuel payment back. This is a cliff edge rule. There is no sliding scale. If you earn 35,000, you keep the 300. If you earn a 30,001, you owe the full amount back to HMRC. This is the hidden debt trap. Because the payment is sent out automatically between November and January, many seniors are spending it right now to cover those high winter energy bills, not realising they are triggering an automatic tax charge. The HMRC has officially confirmed that the winter fuel payment charge will be recovered either through your 2025-2026 self-assessment tax return or by adjusting your tax code for the 2026-2027 tax year starting in April. This means that come spring, your monthly pension take-home pay could suddenly drop as the government recovers the money you already spent on heating months ago. This is especially dangerous if you've had a one-off spike in income. Maybe you sold some shares, had a small inheritance, or took a lump sum from a private pension. That extra cash could turn your free heating support into a debt you weren't expecting. If you know you're going to be over that 35,000 mark, the smartest move is to set that money aside or call the helpline to opt out before the system locks in. Don't let a gift from the DWP turn into a surprise tax bill. Moving to the way you live, this is where the math gets complicated and where many are being denied the full amount without realising why. The rules for couples have hardened in 2026. It used to be simpler, but now the system looks at what I call the household mix. If you are a state pensioner living alone, it's relatively straightforward. You get $2,200 if you're under 80 or $300 if you're 80 or over. But the moment you add another person to the equation, the computer starts slicing your payment. For the 2025-2026 season, if you live with a partner, you are no longer treated as an individual for this payment. Instead, the payment is split. Here is the breakdown that is catching people off guard. The under 80 couple, if you and your partner are both between 66 and 79, you don't get 200 each. You get 100 each, totaling for 200 for the house. The mixed age couple. If you are over 80 but your partner is under 80, you might expect the 300 senior rate. Wrong. In this scenario, the 80-year-old gets 200 and the younger partner gets 100. The over 80 couple, if you are both 80 or older, you each get 150, totaling 300 for the household. But here is the real trap this split largely exists so that HMRC can track who to claw back the money from. If you live with a partner who earns over that 35,000 threshold, but you don't, the government will take back their half of the payment but let you keep yours. However, we are seeing thousands of cases where the DWP has linked household incomes incorrectly. For my seniors living in mixed households, maybe with a sibling or a non-qualifying adult, listen closely. The computer system defaults to the lowest possible payment if there is any ambiguity about who else lives in the property during that qualifying week in September. If your payment arrived and it was only 100 or for 150 when you know you should be getting the full single-person rate, you have been flagged as part of a joint household by mistake. You have until the end of February to prove you live alone or that your housemate doesn't qualify. Do not let the system standardise your support based on a neighbour's address or an old record. Let's talk about a rule that feels particularly cruel but is being strictly enforced this February. It involves what the DWP calls residential care exclusion. If you lived in a care home for whole time between June 23rd and September 21st, 2025, and you receive pension credit, universal credit, or income-related ESA, you are entitled to exactly zero, nothing. The logic is that if the state is already subsidising your care and you're on benefits, they consider your heating costs covered. But here is the new twist for 2026A, the hospital trap. Under the hardened enforcement rules, if you were in an NHS hospital getting free treatment for more than 52 weeks leading up to that qualifying week in September, you are flagged for automatic denial. However, we are finding that even short-term stays are triggering false denials in the system. If you were in the hospital for just 2 weeks in September, the computer might have flagged your status incorrectly as a long-term resident. This is a huge issue for seniors with chronic conditions who have frequent but short admissions. If you show up on the system as institutionalised during that 1 week in September, the payment will be blocked. You must advocate for yourself. If you are a resident in a care home but you don't receive those specific means-tested benefits, you are actually still entitled to a lower rate, usually 100 or 150. But many care home residents are being told they get nothing across the board. Check your status. Tell the officer immediately, I am a self-funding resident, or I was a temporary inpatient, not a permanent one. Do not let a hospital stay be the reason you're denied the funds. You need to keep your own home ready for when you return. I know many of you are worried about the loss of the universal element. There is a lot of bad info out there saying you only get the payment if you are on pension credit. Let me clarify the 2026 reality. While the government did reinstate the payment for all pensioners for 2025-2026, they are using pension credit as the primary filter for who gets the money without the tax clawback. But here is the danger. Millions of people qualify for pension credit but haven't claimed it because the form is 22 pages long and feels like an interrogation. If you apply for pension credit today, in February 2026, you can still backdate your claim for 3 months. This is the golden ticket. If your backdated claim covers that qualifying week in September, you will automatically bypass the 35,000 income check. If you wait until March, you miss the backdating window tied to the fuel payment cycle. You might still get pension credit, but your fuel payment could already be marked denied. It's basically a race against the clock. If you're a low-income senior, around $218 a week or less single, Pause and check your eligibility now. It could mean the difference between stressing all winter or actually breathing easy. At the same time, watch out for scams. Since the payment was reinstated, fraudsters are blasting fake DDoP and HMRC texts and emails. Stuff like verify your bank details or apply now for 300. Nope, hard pass. The government will never text you links or ask for card details. If someone tells you to apply online, it's phishing. Click it and they won't just take 300. They could wipe your account if you get one. Don't reply. Forward it to 7726 and delete it. Only use GOV, UK or the official helpline if you need help. Bottom line, stay warm, keep the money you're owed, and don't let a tech glitch or scam mess you up. If this helped, subscribe. I'll keep tracking the updates so you don't get caught off guard. Stay safe, stay warm. Catch you next time.
This amendment, this is simply an attempt to take out the debate on the winter fuel allowance. Today is Economy Day at conference, and we have a Chancellor speaking and a composited motion on the growth mission, which is scheduled for this morning. So it's more of a surprise and, in fact, an outrage to us that the composited motion from Unite and the CWU on an economy for the future is not listed on the agenda for today. It is disrespectful to our members and every single delegate here and conference itself who voted for the priorities ballot. We're asking for the CAC to go away and urgently resolve this issue this morning, colleagues. Please support.
That was not a relevant point of order.